Hi, welcome to WMD, Woody's Modelling Diary. Going to try something completely new to me, which is weathering this guards van. This was given to me by a good friend of mine, Jonathan, who, if he's watching this, will probably be wondering what on earth am I going to be doing with it. Basically, despite having built models for years and doing military modelling and various other things which required weathering, I've never actually weathered a wagon. This is a Triang guards van, probably about 50 or 60 years old now. It's still in reasonable condition. It's got a little chip in the roof, but I'm not too worried about that. Part of one buffer is missing again. I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to start this project by cleaning the roof down, which is fairly dirty, and then I'm going to paint that grey because I've never seen a guards van with a white roof. I'm going to be using some IPA, isopropyl alcohol, just to clean it off and give it a clean surface, and then give it a coat of grey paint. So I'll clean that down now. Well, that's the first coat of grey. It will need a second coat. As I say, it is the air version of the paint, so it is a bit thinner, but it brushes reasonably well. Being a roof of that nature, it represents a tarred finish anyway, so the next coat will go crosswise to try and give that texture. Whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, I've also, if I can turn this around, just given one side a coat of a black wash. Now it does look a bit messy at the moment, but hopefully that black wash will dry and leave deposits of black paint around the sort of highlights of the moulding, so it should give it some depth, but we'll see what happens. In drying time, the roof has had a second coat, so it looks a lot better. The black wash on the side has done what it's supposed to do and get into the grooves. Might put a little bit more on top, not quite sure yet, but if you compare it to what we started with, you can see what a difference that really does make. That's really looks like a bit of a plastic model, and that begins to look like something you'd actually find on a railway. So I'm going to do the other side with the black wash now, and then we'll come back and see what's next. Well, we're a couple of hours on. The paint's all dry. I've given a couple of coats of the black wash all over. I've also highlighted the handrails in white, or just, it's an ivory white, not pure white. On today's models, those would probably be separate handrails, but you'd be paying £25–30 for a model of that quality, whereas this model would have been about 25–30 in its day. So the next thing I'm going to do is use a few of those weathering powders and a broad brush, and just give it a bit of a coating and see where that takes us. Well, after a few minutes of dusting weathering powders, I've used 3 weathering powders. These are the mid-range, and I've used European Dust, Industrial Grime and Track Brown. European Dust went on the roof, the Industrial Grime went both on the roof and the sides, and then the Track Brown has gone onto the underside, the actual sort of chassis. It looks a bit messy at the moment, but the next stage will be to get a coat of matte varnish on it, which should harmonise it all and hopefully bring it into a sort of more finished look to it. We're almost there. As I say, this is the first time I've weathered a wagon. It's a bit different to the tanks and trucks I'm usually used to weathering, but yeah, I think it will work out okay. Well, it's had its coat of matte varnish, and I use this particular varnish, which is a MIG thing called Ultra Matte Lucky Varnish, and it really does put a matte finish on stuff. It's almost like a black hole. It flattens the light. Anyway, this is what it looks like. I've just put a little bit of silver on the ends of the buffers. You can see the broken one there, but you won't really see that. And the only addition I made was at the end just a square of plastic strip and a little bit of round plastic rod cut to make an end lamp. And just to remind ourselves what we started with, this is a very similar brake van. This is a later Hornby model, slightly different, but I think you probably remember the sort of plastic sheen on it. So yeah, lessons to be learnt. Probably gone a little bit too dark with the black wash, but other than that, yeah, it looks quite weathered, and yeah, quite pleased with that. If you are thinking of doing something like this, get an old wagon. You can usually pick them up for a few pounds at a model railway exhibition or a toy fair. Cost of materials probably about 50 pence with some weathering powder and some dilute black paint and a bit of matte varnish. And really, brush wise, all I've used is this broad brush. That was to put the weathering powders on, and this sort of just sable brush just to put the black wash on. So there we go. Have a go yourselves. I hope you've had some enjoyment out of this. I certainly have. Thanks very much. Take care of yourselves. See you again. Bye. Hi, and welcome to Woody's Modelling Diary, the continuing saga of my many escapades in various models. Recently did a video on weathering a old Triang brake van, which was my first experiment in weathering a piece of rolling stock. Looking at it, I've probably gone a little bit heavy on the weathering, but just to show sometimes I can get it completely, well, I wouldn't say completely, but I can get it right to a degree which satisfies me anyway. I recently finished this Soviet Su-100 assault gun, which was used during the Second World War, and it's a 1/35th scale kit. It's produced by Tellerai, although it's actually its vendor kit which they've just reboxed, and it's just really to show the sort of subtleties of modelling a tank. And these things had a really hard life, full of character, but as with any tank, they never got washed, they never got really any maintenance apart from when they broke down, so they always looked a little bit rough, and obviously they picked up a lot of scars and dirt during their travels. So that's this particular kit. It was quite a simple kit, didn't take too long to build. The downside of it is the rubber band tracks to it, which being rubber don't particularly give a sag, which you would expect from real life tracks. But hey, you can't have everything. It was a nice build, nice and simple. I don't think it actually went wrong for me anywhere, which was a real oddity for me. So there you have it. Woody can do other modelling projects with weathering and get it reasonably right. If you watched this far, thanks very much. You take care. See you again. Bye.